Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we'll review the Realme Buds 2, which is a wired earphone. So let's get into it. Before I start the review, let me unbox and show you the product. Let us have a quick look at the packaging and what we get inside. In the box, it's written "Feel the Real Bass." On the back side, we have some information about the earphones. The drivers is 11.2mm bass boost driver. It offers magnetic tips, anti-twining cable and a cable organizer. The box is kind of big for the earphones, but still it looks good. The packaging is really good. Totally we get 3 earbuds along with this. One is coupled with the earphones, which is the medium size, and you get a small one and a large one as well. And here are the specs of the earphones if you would like to know about them. You can go ahead and pause and look at this sheet. Coming to the design, the cable material is of two types. One is the rubber and the other region is having a cloth braiding, and it has magnetic end or magnetic tips, a flap for organizing the cable, mic and control with good tactile buttons, a 3.5mm connector, and it's not L-shaped. Right and left indications are not that easily visible, but it's okay. So this is the basic design. Now let's get back to the review. So now let's come to the wear and feel of the product. Usually small ear tips, these buds, usually small ones fit me, but with the Realme Buds 2, what came with by default, which is the medium one, it actually fits me perfectly well. And say you're trying to pull it, it will stay for some time before it comes out. So it's a good fit, and make sure that you also check out the other buds that comes with it in case you are purchasing it. So overall the feel of the headphone is really good. I like it, but I still don't understand why these magnetic tips are there for. So maybe you can do it like this, but if you're walking or you're moving around, then there is a high chance that it will just snap off and fall to the ground. So I advise you not to do that. But maybe if you're wearing it like this or something, then yeah, it is good. But I don't find the purpose of having these magnets over here. But coming to the cable, so the cable till this portion from the earpiece to this junction, there is a rubber braided cable, and afterwards there is some cloth braiding till the headphone jack, which is a nice addition, but it would have been great if they have continued with this design till the end. Another thing that I've noticed is that this is a bit heavy, so if you are used to wearing light earphones on your ears, then with the initial wearing, you will feel it as a little bit heavy, but there is nothing to worry about. Within maybe 2 days maximum, you will get used to it and it will be just fine. So there is nothing to worry on that front. And there is one thing that is not so clear. The right and left markings on these earphones are not so clear. So you have to find it somewhere over here. So it's pretty difficult to find. So quite simple. You have the microphone unit over here. So, and by the way, if you want to hear the sound, you can hear it. This is quite tactile. I like it. So yeah, so you can. This will be the right side. So there's a way around it. So nothing to worry about that. But I don't like this design over here. So this is kind of a smooth plastic, and if your hands are a little bit wet or greasy, then pulling it out of the headphone jack might be a little bit of trouble. The headphone jack junction over here is fairly well built. There is nothing to worry about that too. And speaking of anti-tangle, let's go ahead and tangle it like a madman. Let's see what will happen. I think I have to be careful. Okay, so let's check the anti-tangle feature. Yeah, it kind of works. So nothing to worry about there. And if you're wondering where is that flap which was over here, that is one thing I really hated. So since it's anti-tangle or anti-twining, something like that, if you just fold it like this and put it in your bag or your pocket, then it's fine, right? It will not get stuck anywhere. It will not be bundled together. So, but when I had the flap on, I find very intrusive. It was getting stuck everywhere, unnecessarily a pain in the ass. So what I did was I just stretched the cable organizer and gently pushed it over this 3.5mm jack. So now it's gone. I didn't cut it, but so if you want to use it somewhere else, you can use it. And by the way, if you're wondering what other headphones might do while you're doing this, let's check that out too. See what it does. See, it gets tangled over here. Now it's kind of a mess. So this is what normal headphones do, but still it's easy. So this, let's throw that away. Yeah, so this does a really good job. Now coming to the length of the cable, it's just over a meter. I've just measured it and it's fine. So if you're putting your phone in the pocket, or if your PC is set up in such a way that the PC is on the desk, then it's fine, it's easily reachable. But if you're keeping it below, then it will be a bit of a stretch and not so good. So if you're planning to use it on your PC, and if you're keeping the PC on your ground, maybe you can check for a lengthier one, or maybe you can get an extension cable. Well, I also feel that the cable quality is quite reliable. I remember that I've kept it in my ears and I went to sleep listening to some music for 5 or 6 days and nothing has happened so far. By the way, I've used it for almost 2 weeks and I like to use it and then go for a review. Otherwise, I can't explain anything about this. Now let's come to the usage of these earphones, how it feels, the audio quality on various devices. Tested it on various devices, including my PC, my Android phone, and my iPad. The volume button works well with Android and the iPad. So with Android and iPad OS, this thing works really well. There are no issues with recognizing the volume buttons in both. And the mic quality is very good actually. So I've used it for calls and the receiver and me. I could hear everything properly using these earbuds, and the person on the other end could hear properly due to these wonderful microphones, so there was no problem with that. Coming to the clarity of the audio, there is a very decent amount of clarity so that you can easily watch movies or TV series with it without any worries. You can hear the conversation properly, no worries about that. So in that sense, it can also be used for taking video calls or something in your mobile phone. Video calls work fine too, there are no issues with that. So in those respects, it's really good. I had no issues whatsoever so far with these earphones. But I did feel one slight issue with this while gaming. To be exact, first person shooting gaming in phone. I don't usually play that, so I'm not an expert. So what I feel is that if there are footsteps approaching and there are gunshots, you cannot accurately measure from which direction those sounds are coming. So that obviously is a life or death situation in a game. So that's something to keep in mind. And by default, the volume levels of these earphones are really high. So even if you're keeping it at 10% volume or say 8% volume, it's really audible and I like it. So in some headphones, maybe when the driver is like too small, you have to pump up the volume very high and it's not good. You cannot get the volume in some earphones, but in this one by default the volume is high and it's good. But since the volume is high, if you are listening above 80% volume, then it can become an issue because it's too loud and I couldn't tolerate hearing above 80%. So maybe you can, but I couldn't. So it was too loud and the bass was like thumping on my ears, so I couldn't take it. So now let's come to the main selling point of this earphone, which is the bass boost drivers on this one. The bass is really good and it works really well. It definitely makes use of the 11.2mm driver, the bass boost driver, and it's clearly audible. The results are clearly audible, and this earphone can pull some amazing bass notes. And there is a star to this, an asterisk. So this bass is the weakness of this earphone too, which I will come to later on. So one thing you have to always keep in mind is that the price of this earphone is 600 rupees. So with that in mind, you have to evaluate it, and which is why I feel the vocals, the high tones and the mid tones are very decent. It's not extraordinary or something, but it's decent. You can make out the lyrics from music videos or audios, so there is no problem there. So it's pretty decent and it's not very clear or something, but it's good. You can live with it. And maybe it might take some 2-3 days to get adjusted to it if you are on a different pair of earphones. So it's fine. The first few days I did have some difficulty getting used to it, but the first week I was like comparing with other earphones and to know how it functions and all. And the second week I used it entirely, so I had no issues getting adjusted to it. But at times there is a feeling that it lacks some high tones. There is a problem with high tones, but not that much, nothing to worry about. Again, considering this budget. If you predominantly listen to pop music, rap music and EDM, then you will find this to be very good. I enjoyed listening to those kind of music. But listening to rock music is an entirely different story. And which exactly is my biggest gripe with this earphone. So while listening to rock music, the bass notes, the bass from the guitar and the bass from the drums, it's mixed together and I find it to be horrible at times. Not with every track, but with some tracks. And when there is bass guitar and the drums combined, the drums feel as if they have placed a membrane over the drum and then they are using the drum. That feeling is there. So at that time, the bass is not so clear or crisp. It's not so sweet. It's more like a muffled kind of bass. And at the same time, when these two tracks, the bass tones and the vocals are combined, then it's a different story altogether. And in the tracks where there is a mixture of bass guitar, electric guitar, the drums, the vocals and other instruments, then you will feel like the bass is overpowering. It picks up from the bass guitar and the drums and it feels like it's booming in your ears, and at the same time you will miss out on vocals, not that much. Vocals are comparatively okay, but other instruments which are in high tones, the electric guitar misses a lot, then other instruments too, they kind of miss out in those kind of scenarios. So this is definitely not for rock music, which is what I feel. Otherwise, it is a good pair of earphones. So if you are predominantly listening to rock music and you are a big rock fan, and I'm not sure about metal music, I don't like it and I don't listen to it, so not heavy metal fan here. so definitely not for rock music. And which is why I've told that this earphones strength is its own weakness. Since it's a bass boost driver, it tends to pick bass from everywhere and creates some terrible experiences when it comes to rock music, and maybe some pop tracks too, where there is too much of bass combined with vocals and other background tracks. So that's my take on the sound quality overall. So yeah, to conclude, so first thing I have to keep in mind is the price point. For this price point, this really is a decent pick if you don't consider rock music. So not for rock music. Otherwise, it's really good. The microphone functions really well. The cable and the cable strength is really good. I didn't find any issues whatsoever in these 2 weeks, and it was used pretty rough, carried around, thrown around. So yeah, it was good. And the earpiece quality is also really good. No issues so far, no cracks or anything. So this is fine too. So far it has worked really well, and it's very decent for this price range. You'll have no issues with audio clarity or anything except the mentioned scenarios. So I'm pretty satisfied at this price point. So I'm repeating price point again and again, which is something I'm very critical of things. So I had to remind myself that this comes for 600 rupees and I shouldn't compare it with products over 2000 or near to 2000 rupees, which is why I'm mentioning this again and again. So now you have heard my verdict on this and my thoughts. Now it's up to you. You can choose not to buy it or to buy it. It's entirely up to you. And if you like these kind of videos, you can check out my channel. It consists of other kinds of videos too. I would be really happy if you could check it out. And sorry for being awkward on the camera. I don't do direct things to the camera that much. Not even that much. I don't do it. So I hope you like this video. If you liked it and if this has helped you in making a purchase decision, so I'll be happy to get a like, and see you guys in the next video. Take care and stay safe.